This episode of Behind the Video is brought to you by the Independent Media Network. The Independent Media Network helps journalists and content creators create their own jobs by building sustainable online businesses. If you're an unemployed or underemployed journalist or content creator, visit imnct.com for more information.
Hey everybody, it's Lon Seidman and Tim Street is back here as well, and this is Behind the Video, episode number 59. This is an experimental episode, so it's either going to be a total disaster or it's going to succeed immeasurably. So we're broadcasting through YouTube Live this time instead of the Hangouts. Tim is still joining us on Hangouts. How you doing, Tim?
I'm feeling like life is normal on my side, although, my screen gets moved around a lot. Normally when I'm looking at my Hangout, it doesn't move anywhere, but right now it's like shifting all over the place. I feel like I'm back in the 60s. Well, wait, I'm not that old. So,
well, I was trying to move your window, and it got messed up. So you're going to have a mouse pointer above your head, because if I move it too far, we'll just put it over there. Maybe we'll get you in on Skype next time. So speaking of YouTube Live, there was a big announcement this week at Vidcon by YouTube about YouTube Live in terms of who gets to use it. I heard that, and here's the thing that really gets me, Tim, because I labored for a month to get up over 1,000 people.
Yep.
And now I hear it's lower than that. What's the number now?
100.
100.
Yep.
All right. So I guess I should have not even bothered.
Hey, Lon, let me make you feel a little bit better. There's some people that when YouTube or Google makes an announcement, they go out of business.
That's true.
So I think you're okay.
I'm going to do okay. We'll see how it goes.
You'll be all right.
So now, and I'm going to show you the setup here, Tim, and then we're going to hear about VidCon. And I've got my picks of the week will involve some hardware that if I move, it might blow up on us. But so normally when we do this show, I'm upstairs in my home office, and I am sitting behind my desk with the webcam and the microphone. Easy. One click, we're up and running. Now,
it looks like you just rolled out of bed and you crawl over and sit in a chair.
Exactly. That's exactly what I do. Now, the new setup is a little bit more involved than that. So let me show you what it takes to do the same thing with YouTube Live. So we have our machine here that will do some of the screen sharing, which is kind of cool. So that was something we weren't able to do very easily, but we have to do that. I've got you coming in on my MacBook Pro here. Here you are, and you're waving. You see yourself there? Isn't that cool?
Oh, yeah.
And then what we do is we output the video from my Blackmagic switcher, which is over there. We run that through this little box on the table here to this MacBook Air, which is then streaming out to YouTube Live. And it is quite a process, because there's a lot of memory and processing power that's required for this thing, and you've got to kind of separate your duties among your computers, otherwise things get a little out of whack. And I can control, by the way.
What's the advantage of doing this?
The advantage is that we will get better video quality, at least my video quality, and a little bit better audio quality, because what I can do too is I can record locally. So right here I've got, I'm a Blackmagic shop if you haven't seen this already, but I'm recording using a Blackmagic HyperDeck shuttle, so it records to solid state disk, and I can just pull that out and I'll have a really nice high def recording when we're done. So YouTube is also recording this broadcast too, so we'll see how that goes. And the cool thing is I can control the switcher from my iPhone. Isn't that cool? So
that's pretty cool.
So
could you do that on an iPad too?
You could, yeah. I've done it on the iPad. I just forgot to bring it downstairs, and now I'm connected to everything. So it's been a little crazy this morning, but we're going to see how this works. I'm just hoping and praying that the audio levels are good. The fact that we haven't heard anybody in the channel complaining about it is a good sign. So,
could you imagine if you were like a community college that was teaching a TV course, and you just like fought all these battles to get this budget to buy all this gear, and then YouTube Live comes out and you're like,
blows you right out of the water. Yeah. Well, what's funny is that when you become a YouTube Live partner, you get some software called Wirecast for YouTube, and it is at least that part is so easy that you just grab whatever footage is coming into your Mac. It'll work with one of those Blackmagic Thunderbolt adapters like I have hooked up there, and it just goes. And you can then pay like $200 and get one that has some switching capability and some other stuff, and it just takes whatever you're shooting it and pops it over to YouTube Live. It's really it's really slick, and I think it's the cost level is decreasing immensely. And as elaborate as all this looks, this really is not all that expensive to get going. I mean, compared to what it used to be, I think all in, even with the lights, and I do. This is, by the way, my little YouTube studio here that I do all my other stuff with. My YouTube revenue is largely paid for all this already.
So, do you think that like TriCaster, the folks at New Tech have something to worry about here? Is this a concern for them?
Not really. You know why? Because this stuff is, and here's the problem with Blackmagic, is that you buy, and we've heard this from other people too, you buy something thinking, I'm good, I'm going to be all set with this thing. And then you have to keep adding things on as you go. So the nice thing with the New Tech platform is that most of it is enclosed within the box. In fact, I think the TriCaster, like the low-end one, which is now in like the $3,000 or $4,000 territory, can now go right to YouTube right out of the box, which is really slick. The problem that I had with it is that it doesn't have HDMI inputs, just SDI. So I'd have to buy a whole bunch of adapters on top of that switcher. So and this is really hobbled together. I mean, this is not a pro level shop here. You can't tell already, but the fact is that it does work, which is kind of cool. And the Blackmagic stuff is really inexpensive. So the recorder is $300. The box here that's streaming is $140, and it's high def, HDMI to Thunderbolt, and it's all you need plus a MacBook. And this is an 11-inch MacBook Air that we're shooting this broadcast out on. So it's pretty slick. So we'll see how it comes together. So. Now, Tim, you were at Vidcon, and I'm sure there's a lot of people like me who have studios in their basements. So tell us about what you saw there.
Okay, so the first thing you have to know about VidCon is not really an industry event, although there is an industry day. Thursday is industry day, so that's where anybody who is somebody in the YouTube ecosystem from a content standpoint is pretty much there. There were some exceptions where, like, let me think of some top. Ryan Higa was not there. He's pretty big YouTuber from a content standpoint, and Jenna Marbles, I think she had a wedding to go to, so she wasn't there. But pretty much else, any name creator that you've heard of was there. As well as all the multi-channel networks, Maker, The Collective, My Damn Channel, those types of places. But the rest of the time, Friday and Saturday and today, Sunday, are fan days. And the fans that come, there are thousands and thousands of fans. I would say over 10,000. I don't know the official number this year. But I'm going to put out a video of a line that I walked with my iPhone. I'm going to put that up later today. So if you want to see it, just send me a tweet at @1TimStreet, and I'll send you a link to that video when I post it.
And I've got a photo up right now, Tim, of one of the lines for autographs here.
So here's the deal. That photo is not a accurate description of what goes on at YouTube.
So I should look for some more.
That photo leads you to believe that there are young men at VidCon.
Okay.
And the reality is it's 10-to-1 young women, 14, 15-year-old girls in droves.
Really?
It's almost like going to a cheerleading convention, which there happened to be one going on next door at the convention center.
But was there some spillover perhaps, or?
No, there's no spillover. This is parents come and they bring their kids, but usually a lot of these 14, 15-year-old girls are just there on their own. And they are in line to get autographs. They're in line to get in the door. They're in line to go to concerts. They're in line to meet the YouTube celebrities that they love. And a lot of these celebrities are people that you've never heard of. They're folks that you and I just don't even know their names, but these kids love them, and they get more traffic than a lot of cable TV shows, a lot more views than cable TV shows. It is amazing. And so that's the most shocking thing about going to VidCon is that overwhelmingly it's 14, 15-year-old girls that are there. That is hands down the number one thing where you're just like, I had no idea this is going on. Even if somebody tells you, you still don't. It doesn't comprehend until you're actually there. And the second thing that's the biggest shocker about VidCon is that 14, 15-year-old boys haven't figured this out yet.
So, right, you would think that there's like some connections that could be made here, right?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you know what? Maybe they have, and they're just not telling their friends. Maybe the
The best kept secret kind of thing.
Yeah, there's a lot of 14, 15-year-old boys that are scared to death of 14, 15-year-old girls. So, that could be the case of it too. But if you've ever heard of the band One Direction,
sure.
And you know how girls just love One Direction, basically that's what it's like. It's the only thing that comes to mind when I think of VidCon is the old stock footage of the Beatles on the Ed Sullivan Show, and the girls just screaming for the Beatles. It is literally like that. A YouTube celebrity that you and I have never heard of will walk out of a door, and you will just hear this scream go across the crowd, and squeals and screams, and they're just, everybody's got their iPhone out, they're taking pictures, and it's pretty amazing.
And who are they going there for? I mean, obviously the YouTube stars. Like, who among the YouTube stars had the most traffic at their signing booths? It looked like from that Vine I was showing, there was a lot of people waiting online.
A lot of these folks are people that I've never heard of, and so I couldn't tell you. I'm just not up on the latest and greatest YouTubers that appeal to the 14 to 15-year-olds. But I can tell you that, folks like Smosh are hugely popular. Phil DeFranco, Shane Dawson, Rhett and Link. But these are all in the ecosystem. These are kind of older people than what the girls are squealing for. They still have big lines. Felicia Day had a huge line. Bernie Sue and his whole entourage of cast for Lizzie Bennett Diaries were there, and I got to hang out with them and really see how Bernie and his team interact with the fans and the super fans. This is something that's really interesting, is that some of the fans become so popular in the fan community that they're a super fan that the other fans worship.
Really? So they're so aware of what's going on?
Yeah, there's actually a term for it, and I forget the term, but it's something like, the fan leader, or the I don't know what it is, but there's a term that's used by the social media crowd to identify those key fans that are the super fans that the other super fans follow.
So it's the equivalent of like the Trekkers back in the day, right?
Yeah, exactly. And so those fans will make stuff like they make these little bears and these little bow ties, and they give them to the cast of Lizzie Bennett Diaries. And but why do you care as a content creator? Well, as a content creator, there's a couple things that you need to think about. One, do you have a fan base? Do you want to serve that fan base? Is there a way that you can interact and give the fan base that you have what they want? And there are a lot of opportunities, a lot of different ways to do that. Going to VidCon, you will come up with some ideas. You will get some ideas on how to do that. Lizzie Bennett Diaries, Bernie Sue, they've been really, really good at using VidCon as a platform to make announcements about new shows. And that's what they did again this year. They have a rabid fan base that loves anything Jane Austen. And so the first series they did was Bennett Diaries. Then they did kind of a filler series, or an off-season type series called Welcome to Sanditon, which was based on Jane Austen's unfinished book. Then they announced at this VidCon that they're doing their next series will be called Emma Approved. And so they made an announcement about Emma Approved, and the fans went wild. Within seconds, they had 800 followers on Twitter. That night when I checked in with them about Emma Approved, they had, I think, around 2,000 followers on Twitter, and that was yesterday's or the night before. So I don't know. I don't know what they're up to now in terms of followers already for a show that hasn't even been launched.
It's amazing.
And speaking of other things that haven't been launched, where I saw something really incredible, were the folks over at Chill. I don't know if you've experimented with Chill. Chill
No.
started out as kind of a recommendation site, chill.com, where you would go and you would share the videos that you like watching with other people, and you kind of build this aggregation of great content. And so everybody votes stuff up over at Chill, and they've come out with this thing called Camp Dakota. Now, Camp Dakota is going to leverage 3 YouTube stars.
Hannah Hart is one of them.
Hannah Hart is one. Daily Grace is another one. And they're doing a show, and what they did is they used VidCon as a platform to get everyone's email that loves these 3 content creators. What are they going to do with their email? Well, when the film launches on VOD on Chill, which you as an independent content producer can sell your VOD movie there as well, they're going to notify everybody that Camp Dakota is now for sale on Chill. And I thought this was really, really smart of them. I thought they did a great job of putting this one together. And for me, that was the biggest surprise of VidCon. And I hope we see more of that. I hope it works. I hope they're able to go, hey, we signed everybody up at VidCon, and guess what? They're super serving their niche. They're giving the fans something they want. And not only are they doing that at VidCon, they're getting a direct relationship with their viewer. So if you're currently a multi-channel network on YouTube, you don't have your viewers' email. You don't know who's watching.
Right.
But they will know who's watching that movie that they put out because they've got their email, and they can market to them in the future when there's something that those fans will like. And that's really smart business.
And that's kind of what
it works.
Yeah, me too. I mean, that's kind of what Jason Calacanis was talking about, in that it's been difficult to develop this direct relationship with your subscribers in a way that you can get them back to see your stuff by sending them an email directly. Kind of, who would have thunk it, having an email address for somebody, right? So
yeah, Jason was there. He spoke. I hit a wall yesterday, and just I chose to drive home rather than go see Jason Calacanis. I'd been there for several days, and I was just beat. And so I came home and took a nap. But it would have been interesting to hear what he said. There were some other great speeches, great predictions. Jim Louderback from Revision 3 that got bought by Discovery. And Discovery had a huge presence at VidCon.
Yeah.
They had a big shark there
thing going on, right?
For Shark Week.
Yep.
And so they were smart. They brought their huge robot shark there for pictures. Funny thing was, is you would expect there would be a big line to get your photograph taken with this. And it was a giant shark. I don't know if it's like 80 feet long or 40 feet long. It's big. I mean, basically, it's the size of a sailboat in the middle of a convention center. That's
really? Oh, it's that big of a shark? Wow.
It's that big of a shark. And it's the one that they built that crushes things. So it's a robotic shark that will crush a jet ski.
Oh, so you got to be careful with that thing.
Yeah, the mouth is big enough to fit a jet ski into and crush a jet ski. That's how big this great white shark is. And literally, you could just walk right up to it and get your picture taken.
Did it crush anything in front of you?
I didn't see it. When I walked by it, it had a lifeguard stand in its mouth, which I thought was nice. I mean, I thought they did a great job, but it just wasn't their audience. 14, 15-year-old girls don't really care about a shark that crushes things.
No, the boys do. But
the boys that were there were the only kids that I saw getting their pictures.
Right.
I mean, I'm sure there were plenty of girls. But anyway, it was interesting to see how old media was not succeeding the way that these young adults and some teenagers were succeeding at VidCon with an audience and super serving that audience. And so that's going to be a huge challenge for folks in the future. The other thing that I saw was Jim Louderback speaking, and he always likes to make predictions, and then he'll come back and say where he was right, where he was wrong. And Jim's just great, because he's been in traditional media and he's been in new media, and he's really seen the place evolve, and one of the smart folks out there. And Jim's prediction is that we are in a bubble and that the multi-channel networks are in trouble. And he gave a little economics course, which was really fun to watch. You would think, oh yeah, economics at a video conference,
Right.
but he explained the subsidy of milk and government cheese, and how you wind up with all this extra inventory because somebody came in and sponsored something. And so it was interesting to hear him correlate dairy to YouTube giving money in the marketplace to all these different multi-channel networks. So I do think we'll see some attrition at some point, and once somebody gets addicted to getting free money and they don't know how to go make money on their own, what's going to happen to them when that free money stops coming in?
Right, and I think there's some motivation to, I've been looking a lot at analytics because I'm trying to. My goal here is to get YouTube to pay my grocery bill. That's been my objective here. So my sites are low, right?
Right.
But what I've been looking at is really tearing into my analytics, seeing the things that are really getting a response out of people. So like my latest hit is driving the Tesla Model S with the Google Glass on.
Right.
Who'd have thunk it? Like, people are loving it. So that kind of real point of view kind of interaction is something I'm going to start experimenting more with. And I got to find cool things to apply that to. But it's been interesting. I did a little iPhone game review of something that was kind of obscure and put that out there, and that got some traffic. So I'm starting to look at that. And what's nice about it is that if I was getting paid just to do stuff, I'd just do whatever the hell I wanted to, right? I mean, it's a little bit different than being there. And I still don't get the whole multi-channel marketing thing, given how cheap it is to do this, right? unless there's something more to it that I'm missing, especially because...
Well, absolutely. I mean, what you're missing is, in terms of looking longevity at your career, and take a multi-channel network into play. So, a multi-channel network kind of has the same goals as a talent agent or a talent manager. Talent agent, talent manager, they want to find talent that has already built an audience or has something that they can sell, something of great value. So a multi-channel network wants somebody that has an audience. Why do they want that audience? They want that audience because they can leverage advertising. They can potentially put together TV deals like was done with Fred for Nickelodeon. So it's just, how do you find something that already has an audience that can be leveraged to make more money? And is it something that has a 15-year plan? Will you be able to take that audience 15 years in the future? Now, doing product reviews is great because there's a little niche there. There are people that really want to see that thing before they buy it. If you're going to do iPhone reviews, well, everybody's going to do iPhone reviews, right? It's not that exclusive. But if you're going to do a review on a, smiley button hidden web camera, then there's not going to be that many reviews out there that are that good. There'll be some crappy ones where, it's done in another language, or you can't really make out what they're shooting because they shot it on a low quality camera. But there's never going to be millions of views for that, but there will be 4,000, 10,000 views for that topic. And if you can do enough of those, you can build an audience, but you're never going to have something that has mass appeal if you're so niche focused.
Right.
So from a strategy standpoint, I would say pursue your passion and find the thing that correlates the biggest in your passion to the largest audience possible. And the largest, I'm sure there's people out there that care about drilling holes in bowling balls, but you're not going to get millions of viewers unless there's some spectacle and comedy to drilling holes in bowling balls, that it's just so niche.
Right.
But if for some reason, you're only trying to target every bowling alley because this drill is so special that you have, then all of a sudden it becomes valuable to just get 100 views from 100 different bowling alleys that are in the marketplace for buying a new bowling ball drill.
Right. And I found too that the even if you have enough stuff that gets viewed occasionally, when your back channel begins to build up a little bit of like I think I said this the other day, is like 2/3 of my views are all the other stuff. So the popular stuff is up there, but 2/3 of the views are just all the other junk that I've put up there over time, and it's been interesting. I'm not sure where I'm going with it, but
Zay Frank also gave a great speech about what he sees going on in the marketplace and how at his company they are approaching video differently as a group. And so everybody who's on the team has to be a content creator, and everybody gives their opinion as a content creator. And then they look at the numbers to see if the content that they created is doing anything before they go make more of it, which I thought was really interesting. And I could have listened to Zay talk more because he's a super smart guy. He's done really well in this space. Another thing that vidIQ, the founder, Rob Sandy, was talking about, he was telling us that there are different variables that you can look at in terms of what's successful, and maybe play around with things like how many words per minute are in your video.
Ooh, interesting.
And apparently a lot of the top videos, a lot of the top vloggers have a really fast paced, they're talking a mile a minute and they're talking about everything.
And they're jump cutting so quickly that there
are more words per minute. And when you're targeting the younger crowd, that's really important. Another thing that Rob was telling everybody, so I don't know how valid this is going to be now that he's told everybody, but the term vegan is a very underused term and it's highly searched. So
interesting. So
there you go. Do a vegan review of some kind of product.
All right, I'm going the vegan route. Gotta get some vegan groceries. Those are not cheap, as you know. So, well, shall we move on to some other news, Tim?
Absolutely.
So we'll look at our YouTube picks of the week here. At least these are the picks that the viewers of YouTube have rated. A lot of Canada this month. One interesting, one kind of tragic. There's two videos in our top 5 are of a young man who was shot by police. He was wielding a knife on a train, and the police kind of cornered him, and it's become quite a bit of a controversy in Toronto. So that came in at our number 5 and our number 2 spot. Somebody enhanced one of the shots here and thankfully you can't see too much of happening here. So thankfully that is it. But unfortunately, tragic news events seem to take precedent on YouTube more often than not on our top 5. What's interesting about this is that there are a few news events now that have escaped cameras, whether it's surveillance cameras or people with smartphones. And when these incidents occur, I mean, there is a lot of recording going on. So I don't know, what that means, but it means that I think there's a lot more accountability when these types of things happen. Number 3 and 4 is more guns, but these are fake ones. This is Black Ops 2. I guess there's some blooper reels that have been running on this thing. It's still, again, amazing to me how the video games just do so much traffic. So here it is, Tim.
You know what? There was some talk about this at Vidcon too, in that pretty soon you may see some takedown notices or some money grabs happen where the people who created the video games are going to claim the graphics in these videos.
Right. Nintendo's already doing it.
Nintendo's already doing it, and people expect to see more. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. And folks like Rooster Teeth in years past, Red versus Blue, have used this footage and built a business on this footage. So it'll be interesting to see how they navigate the waters, and are they going to be able to keep doing what they've been doing? Will they license the footage? Will the company just give it to them, because it is great marketing for the video game company? So it'll be interesting to see how it plays out.
And what's funny is that Nintendo is doing it for brand protection, because Nintendo's always been,
you have to,
and they've always been focused on younger kids than Sony and Nintendo were. I don't know if you probably remember this when Mortal Kombat came out on the Super Nintendo. There was no blood; it was turned into like green stuff or something. And the Sega Genesis had the red blood, and that was a big controversy among gamers and politically at the time. And they are doing this, they say, because they need to protect their brand if someone is doing something, different with it than they'd like. However, Sony and Nintendo didn't seem to, Sony and Sega didn't, Sony and the other one, Microsoft didn't seem to be taking the same approach. So I think we'll see some game providers maybe a little bit more friendly than others. Now the top video this week, Tim, this one's kind of fun. This is some Vancouver artwork here. And now watch this. So we're watching the video play here on this dying MacBook here. It shouldn't be playing this slowly, but basically this guy is going to step on these rocks and it will move like water, and it doesn't move like water right. There we go. Here we go. Isn't that cool?
Yeah.
So little art display. It looks like a bunch of rubble, and it's actually rubble on some kind of water bed or something. So kind of cool.
Yeah, it looks like a water bed.
So 1.5 million people found that interesting. So I think it's interesting too. How about you, Tim? That looks pretty cool, right?
Yeah.
So that is that. So moving on to some news of the week. There's a Twitter account called The Modern Seinfeld, and it's these little one-liners about what this week's Seinfeld episode would have been about if it was on today. And Tim, it looks like, according to the Hollywood Reporter, that somebody has gotten a job out of this thing, huh?
Yeah, absolutely. The guy who is behind it has landed a job for a Fox show that's coming out. So it'll be interesting to see, if that becomes a career path, build an audience online and get a job someplace.
And, it's funny, it's sometimes you got to get noticed, too. And this guy was a former BuzzFeed writer, so I think he's got a little bit of an idea as to what kind of works online and what doesn't. But, it's funny, I was talking to a friend of mine who does Broadway-style, does shows. She sings at shows and stuff. And, I said, wow, you're really good. How is it hard to get gigs? She goes, it's hard to get gigs because everybody can sing. So it becomes very difficult to kind of break above the noise. The talent is all there. It's a matter of getting above all that. And occasionally you could be really talented and just not get in front of the right people. But it looks like this guy did. YouTube, I think we talked about this at the outset. Actually, we didn't talk about this part, is going to be offering paid channels to creators who have more than 10,000 subscribers. So that's a change, right? Because that was kind of closed initially.
Yep. So it'll be interesting to see how that one plays out and who, are people able to succeed there.
And I guess what you've set a price and YouTube will give you a cut of that, right?
Yep.
All right. So that's kind of a neat thing. Another thing, this might be interesting on the superfan front, is that some channels now, according to TubeFilter, are going to be allowing you to pick out the Google Plus profiles of your super fans and kind of showcase them. So
yeah, this is huge. This is a huge way to know who your super fans are and how to interact with them and invite them to do things. And like right now, we have no idea who, or at least I don't know who is watching this live on Google Plus and how to contact them. Mm-hmm. Can you see that, Lon?
If they were chatting, we'd be able to, but otherwise really not. I mean, what they should do, of course, if we can plug, is join our Google Plus community at behindthevideo.com so we know who you are. Maybe we'll showcase you.
Or not.
Or not.
You don't want us to know.
Exactly.
That could be it too. I'm pretty creepy looking, so.
I wonder if I would imagine it's an opt-out or opt-in kind of thing from the person. Maybe that you would probably have to give your permission to be featured as a super fan. I would imagine, but we'll have to see how that plays out.
But why wouldn't you want to be the super fan, right?
Exactly. Why not?
You want to be up on stage with the band, right?
Oh, yeah. This is the way to do it, and a great opportunity for Google Plus, because this really now, I think it's starting to connect. Let's face it, Google through YouTube has probably the most successful social media network on the planet. Even maybe more traffic, certainly more revenue than Facebook has at the moment. So this is a really neat way to connect people to it, and I think that's kind of cool. So we'll see how that goes on there. Moving on quickly to movies. More disappointment, right? The Smurfs have tanked, like big time.
It didn't look like the Smurfs. It looks like some new version of the Smurfs.
Yeah, it's like this computer-generated something or other. So I was at the toy store in December getting some toys for Tots and stuff, and they had the little Smurf stuffed animals, and they were on clearance. and the only one left was Grumpy Smurf, and nobody wanted the Grumpy Smurf.
Oh, poor Grumpy. No wonder he's grumpy.
Very unfortunate. However, Despicable Me is in. This is according to Nikki Fink at Deadline.com. Despicable Me is in at number 5 still, so they're holding on with their 5th week. At number 5, $362 million at the box office, which is kind of a good place to be there. The top movie this week, we'll get to in a minute, because I always do that. The Conjuring, which opened up about 3 weeks ago, is in at number 4, 108 point.
Very scary.
Is it scary?
I haven't seen it, but I hear people like this weekend. I heard people talking about it. So if you like scary, this is really scary.
So be frightened and go see it. I will probably skip that one with the baby in the house. The Smurfs 2 did come in at number 3. It did about 80 million worldwide, but apparently that's not enough. So they were saying here that the Smurfs is... Nikki Fink was surprised by how badly the Smurfs is doing. The Wolverine is on its 2nd week, and its total cum worldwide now is $255.2 million. So it is moving up a little bit, but still off the mark where they wanted it to be. And the top movie this weekend was Two Guns, another action flick. Came in with 10 million on Friday, 9.8 million on Saturday. So weekend so far, $27.4 million. So that is the movies for the week there. I guess Ellen DeGeneres, YouTube star, one of the top YouTube channels, is going to be hosting the Oscars this year. So hopefully that will be, I don't know, I wasn't too crazy about Seth MacFarlane's thing. He was a pretty good singer, but I don't know what you thought about that, Tim.
Yeah, it was funky. This is a tough one. You've got to get somebody that appeals to both the older crowd and the young crowd, and that's really tough to do. Wouldn't it be great if they had Smosh? No, wait, Smosh doesn't appeal to the older.
Not
crowd.
yet. He'll do like the Emmys or something first, or maybe he'll start with the YouTube whatever the streamies are, whatever the awards. You should have him come in and do your
the IAWTV Awards.
Have him do that. James Cameron is planning not 1, not 2, but 3 Avatar sequels. So we'll be getting our fill of Avatar. I wonder if these will cost as much as the first one did, because he's got all that stuff now kind of developed, right? But we'll have to see where that comes into play. And we'll wrap up here with a couple of things. Our pick of the week. So I've been picking a lot of hardware lately. I'm going to do it again. So let me switch over to camera 2 here. Here is a little box, which you can't see, and I have a YouTube video up reviewing this on my channel. So it's a tiny little metal box. It is called the Blackmagic Ultra Studio Mini, and this thing is $145, like I said at the outset. Very tiny little box. You plug in HDMI and then plug the other end into the Thunderbolt port on your Mac or your Windows PC, and whatever it gets via that HDMI cable, it will stick on your computer. Great.
Wow.
Great little tool. You can stream with it, which we're doing, as a matter of fact.
Now, wait a second. So if I had an Apple TV and I took the HDMI out of the Apple TV and plugged that into it into that box, would it work?
No, it probably won't because of the HDCP protection. However, I've got there's another thing you can plug into it first, and it's over there right now. But there is a maybe I'll put a link to this in the show notes if people are interested. There is a way to get a box. Monoprice has one where you plug the HDMI in, output it to DVI, and then convert it back to HDMI, and that strips the protection off of it. So it is possible to do that if you wanted to, but it's a lot of work to get.
Is that legal?
It is. Probably, I don't know. It depends on what your intentions are with it. I think if you're, people use that device to capture PlayStation 3 footage. PlayStation 3 has always been locked down.
So, what if you, accidentally were, doing some, say, some Wii, and you weren't wearing the wristband, and the thing that the thing you were holding in your hand, it flew off, hit your TV screen, shattered the screen.
Right.
But then there was something you really needed to watch.
Right. Well, then you're within your rights, and this is one of those gray areas.
You're not a lawyer, nor do you play one on TV.
No.
But in your opinion,
my opinion is do whatever you want in the privacy of your home, and do not share it with anybody, and you will be perfectly fine. But there
you go.
This is
as if we had privacy in our homes.
Exactly, which we sort of don't anymore, because they can apparently listen in on your phone now if they really want to get at you. So we'll see where that goes. Last thing, Tim, you had sent this over earlier in the week, which was this Universal Translator by Google. Anything to add on that?
Are we talking about the $35 stick that you plug into your TV that's now sold out on Amazon? Is that what we're talking about?
No, because we were talking about the Star Trek style universal translator, which I guess it's just the concept thing right now.
This is a concept to where it will translate anything you say.
Oh, right, exactly.
Into another language so that other people can understand you in real time.
Exactly. That's kind of a neat thing.
I like that. That's pretty cool.
So,
but the thing that was a buzz about and I can't, the Chrome stick. What is it called?
It's the Chromecast. The
Chromecast. It's sold out on Amazon. It's $35. It's basically like a Roku for Google, and it allows you to throw anything from your iPhone, your Android phone, your tablet up onto a big screen. So much similar to what you can do with your Apple TV, except this is just a USB stick that plugs right into your newfangled TV set.
I can't wait to get one. I've got one on order.
I held one in my hand. Bernie Sue, YouTube gave one to our buddy Bernie Sue, and Bernie showed it to me, and it was still in the box. I mean, it just looks pretty much like a funky USB stick. So
they've apparently sold 1 million of these things already, which is amazing.
Yeah.
And I think what's going to happen with this is that this might be finally the route that we get people, because people are really getting used to doing stuff with their phones, and apparently this is a lot easier just to toss stuff over to this thing and have it run the video onto your television. So I have one on order. My Best Buy locally had one, and I didn't get off my butt quick enough to go get it. So I'm going to have to wait until my Amazon shipment shows up. And apparently the original deal was so good because they gave you 3 months of free Netflix, even if you were already an existing subscriber. So
yeah, so that like knocked it down to $11.
Yeah, it was a great deal. Yeah. So when we get one, I will review it and we will share it here on the channel. So, but Tim, I think that's going to do it for this experimental episode. We'll see how it comes out. Hopefully it comes out at all. We are recording it in multiple places, so that will do that. But where can people find you on the interwebs?
At 1 Tim Street, and remember, if you want to see that video that I shot of the line at VidCon, just tweet me. Yeah.
Tweet Tim at 1 Tim Street and check it out. And we will, when he gets it up, I will put it up on our Google Plus community. You got to join it to see it at behindthevideo.com. So that will do it for this edition of Behind the Video. We are a wrap.
Stories for this episode were compiled by producer Jason Perrier. Follow him on Twitter at JASONPERRIER. Behind the Video is a production of Ape Digital Incorporated and the Independent Media Network, LLC. All rights reserved.